And the suggested slate of officers to consider is President Lori Klein Quinn, Vice President John Ford, Treasurer Randy Parr, Secretary Derek Townsend, Director Dane Dunnigan, Director Mark Stoll, Director Megan Maggio, Assistant Secretary Doris Spear, and Assistant Treasurer Catherine DeBose.
Make a motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? We'll have a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. For item 2 of new business, I'll now turn it over to you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman Ford. Okay, Item 2 on the Tomball Legacy Fund is to approve and accept donations for Louis Playground, which is the inclusive playground at Jurgens Park, into the Tomball Legacy Fund. And Drew, would you like to tell us about this?
Yeah, I need to bring it up. Yeah, but you have logged on in my age tracker.
Okay, I can speak about it if you like. And then I can.
Can you send it from your laptop to me?
Or if you'd like, I can speak about it over the presentation.
Yeah, if you give me one, I'll be able to.
So let me ask a question real quick, David. Do they not have laptops or do they just not bring their laptops?
They don't have them.
They don't have them?
Probably have a desk.
Can we go ahead and make sure that maybe the staff who comes to council meetings have a laptop?
We can absolutely look and see what.
I think that would be good so they can follow along, and if they've got presentations, then maybe they can have those on their laptops. What do y'all guys think?
Good with that.
Lawrence, can you have access to the extract from yours and forward it to me via email? I sent it to you. Thank you.
Sure.
She got it, Doris.
Hmm?
She got it.
You got it. Do we have any money currently in the legacy funds? We don't have the financials on this for Louis Playground at all. So there's never been any funding in that. Okay. And I know that we do in the legacy fund have a list of some amounts per project. And maybe that would be something that we can review to see.
Do we
if
have
it
any
needs
money
to
in
be spent.
parks for Louis? I thought we earmarked some money for Louis Playground.
It's not in the legacy fund.
Okay. Oh, no, I'm talking about in the regular.
In the city.
In the
City budget. I thought we had done that.
No, not yet.
Not yet? Oh, we just talked about it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so this is Louis Together Playground. So like our mayor said, this would be an all-inclusive playground brought to us and then in a co-sponsorship with the Munson family. So the kind of the introduction to the story. So this is something that the family wrote about Louis. So Louis does have a common type of dwarfism that occurs in 1 in 25 to 40,000 births, making it a very rare condition. Louis is a 4-year-old little boy that is born with this condition, and his parents feel like they just won the lotto to be blessed with him. So, and they said that what Louis lacks in stature, he makes up for in personality. Louis loves being the center of attention and to make people laugh, and loves all things construction. So with this story, I won't read all of it, but with this story, it was really picked up by a children's storybook. And the children's storybook wrote about Louis and construction, and then once that went on, this is Louis and his family. Once the family, it will go at Jurgens Park and to continue on. So with that, the company called Landscape Structures Incorporated, which is a playground company, kind of picked up on the book and designed a playground to kind of fit what Louis' dreams are for an inclusive playground, what the family's dreams are. So what they did here, as you can see, it has all different types of construction aspects with, a crane and a loader and all the other types of, all the fun, Tonka truck kind of toys that we all grew up playing with. Here's another copies of the different sides of the renderings for the playground. As you can tell there's the big tires for the loader. Kind of the crane aspect with the swing off of it. So how can we help? So with the partnership and with the Legacy Fund, and with all of us partnering with the city, we'll be releasing these renderings on social media to help drive that fundraising kind of effort, and then continuing to meet with them and hopefully be able to really get that public outreach out there to raise enough money to be able to build this playground.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and probably have to answer some questions afterwards, but I'll entertain a motion to approve the renderings, For-
Approve and accept donation.
approve and accept donations. So we
The
don't,
agenda item is.
okay. Yeah. All right, approve and accept donations for the an inclusive playground at Jurgens Park into the Tomball Legacy Fund.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion, is in the renderings, is there any, even though it's Louis Playground, is there anything that is for traditional little girls to play in that have special needs?
Yes, ma'am. So actually, with the experience that I had with inclusive playgrounds, so the inclusive playgrounds, they're not only for individuals with what a lot of us think about when we talk about like ADA playgrounds or inclusive playgrounds with mobility issues. They're also there for all people with any kind of whether it's people with no disabilities at all, or people with, the extreme disabilities, whether it be, mobility bound or sensory. So there's all different types of play designed in that playground for kids that experience, people that experience all different levels of inclusiveness. So with construction, as this is designed in construction, it's designed as a playground based upon Louis in his book. But
Okay.
being someone that has little girls, they play with construction equipment too. So,
Okay.
And just knowing, I have a 9-year-old and, she plays with trucks and planes and all different kinds of things like this.
Okay,
She's
good.
not afraid to get there.
Mine did castles and dolls.
Well, she does that too with,
Okay.
with trucks. So.
Right, thank you. Okay,
I
any other discussion?
have a question, and this is, I guess, a legal question for Lauren. With the Legacy Fund, would our social media people within the city be able to do like a GoFundMe drive also for bringing money into the Legacy Fund on this or not?
I don't see why not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good
Okay,
idea.
because with them having a book and with the book being published nationally and that, it may be a good way to tie into it.
Yeah.
Bring funds for it as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
How much do they figure the renderings that we have shown us tonight, ballpark, where they looking as far as expense for the park? Do you have any ideas? 800,000.
There's also some aspects in the playground where things can be tailored to lower that cost, depending on like a play surface, for example. The one rendered here is poured in place rubber. Poured in place rubber over the last 3 years has gone from $17 a square foot to over $27 a square foot. Where if you design it with a synthetic turf, what we know is AstroTurf. So if you design it with a synthetic turf, your cost will still stay around that $17 to $20 range versus almost $30.
Then we're gonna have kids with skin burns because of the artificial turf.
Yes, sir. And then with that, the technology from artificial turf, a lot of us have heard about the heat that the artificial turf puts out, the concern of cancer-related issues and pathogens with the rubber that's in there. There's new what's called infill, and so instead of the rubber pellets that always get in your shoes when you're on there, there's different companies out there. I'll just give you an example. The new Texas Ranger Stadium doesn't have rubber pellets. It's a synthetic turf. It has coconut shells. So there's another infield called Brock infield, which is actually paper mill waste rolled and then heat treated. And then it's made to where it doesn't float, it doesn't mildew, it doesn't decompose. And it actually lowers the temperature of the synthetic. So as different aspects of the world of sports and play has come into factor on the synthetic turfs and artificial turfs, their technology is just raised tremendously in the last 5 years.
Because I know when we played on it as high school football players, it was not some very nice stuff at all.
It's come a long way, especially in the last 5 years.
I believe that he referenced the Texas Rangers. I believe that's an MLB team in Texas, but not in the same category as the Astros at all. So just wanted to clarify.
Wow.
I think that's fact. not opinion.
That's the moment it is.
That's why they have to have a fancy turf to attract people.
I think so.
So I know that this has to do with our legacy fund. Is there any funds the city has in our general budgets that's could be thrown towards this to maybe get it off the ground? And I'm not talking about a whole lot of money. I'm just talking about people see a little bit of money there, they realize that, hey, you know, this is truly something to give to.
So one thing that we didn't talk about in the presentation is that Louis' family actually has committed a substantial donation to fundraise for this already, and that the city is proposing to we're going to propose contributing some funds through the FY23 budget. So
Can we match it?
Certainly that's up to council's decision, but we are bringing forward some capital funding in the FY23 budget to bring forward. And then we're also reaching out to some of our local partners. An inclusive playground is an incredible thing for a community to have. And certainly they are big attractors because they're not that common. And they're definitely something that we see more and more as communities build these. Because every kid can come play, whether they, as Drew said, whether they have a sensory or an auditory or a visual impairment, they have a playground they can come to. And so there are a lot of organizations that are contributing to these playgrounds really across the region. So we continue to explore funding sources that are available.
For us to consider matching whatever they put up.
Okay. Thank you. So we have a first and a second motion. We're through discussions. Call for the vote. Okay, all in voice. Voice together.
vote.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Now I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Thank you. Motion carries. We are adjourned.